So today's the day. I can't believe I didn't lead with this on Monday. I guess I was still reeling. You know, sometimes when you have a traumatic experience, you have to block that out or put some distance between you and the experience. And Sunday Night Yellowstone was a traumatic experience for me. Okay? Yeah, let that sink in. What the hell? Holy shit, what are those riders? What kind of drugs are those riders on? They are on something heavy because, first of all, if anybody watching lives in Montana or is a cowboy or a rancher, I need you to tell me, how realistic is it that we're talking about multiple wealthy families that own land in the Montana region who also are basically serial killers, trained like gunmen, snipers, and can ride horses really well, also are like cattle experts and have like insane political connections, and also have like, I don't know, like the sharpest mouth in all the land. I mean, they just, character development crushed it, right? I mean, I feel like these people are my own. I turned it on and that's like, you weren't even like a huge fan. And I'm like, you don't know how I feel about Beth. I've like, you know, instantly invested. But I mean, the storyline there, it's dramatic. It's just not believable, but it is believable, you know? Like, obviously, they're going to blow up the bank. But I mean, these people showed up. Like, whoever's attacking the Duttons, like, by the way, if you don't watch this show, spoiler alert, okay? You need to be watching it. And I'm going to give you a shitty Cliff Notes version so that you can catch up if you haven't, so you can tune in on Sunday night if you don't have the time to invest in like, what, 3 seasons? First of all, how can they show this on TV, not on HBO? Like, because they say a lot of bad words. And it's on Peacock, right? Is that right? I don't know. Is this show on TV like cable? Or is it just on streaming? So we don't even have cable at my house. We just watch streaming. But I use that to watch the show, I think. Yeah. But it's on TV, right? Like regular cable programming. How can they say some of this and show some of this stuff on TV? Have we just evolved that much and I didn't know that because I haven't watched cable in so long, or what? I don't know. But anyway, okay, so we left off in last season with like a huge cliffhanger. Everybody and their mom got shot. Like literally everybody and their mom. They got shot and then they called their mom, and their mom was also getting shot. Then their brother was getting shot, and the friends were getting shot, and like the girl down the street was getting shot. Everybody at the grocery, like everybody was getting shot. If they weren't getting shot, they were getting blown up and bombs going off at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. If I can just tell you, I think at the season finale, if I recall, because it's been a minute, thanks COVID, delaying my Yellowstone. At that point, I had like 2 or 3 glasses of wine. And so I was very passionately watching the season finale. And let me tell you, when they show up and start shooting everybody that you've like invested your life in, and then you've also had a couple glasses of wine, like it hits hard, it hits different, okay? So I feel like, you know, since last season, I've just been thinking about Rip and Beth and like, okay, what's gonna happen there? They leave you in a pretty big cliffhanger. I'm in my head debating on how much I should say without like revealing it. Because if you haven't watched it, you need to go watch the show. Anyway, so you're left in like a big cliffhanger. So that's like a lot of emotional baggage you're carrying around for months, okay? And then I expect them to sort of ease into this episode, but what do? No. They make you relive that trauma. Opens up, screen fades from black, and they're shooting shit again. Everybody's getting shot. We don't know who's alive, who's dead. We see crows attacking the bodies. Bombs are going off, okay? So instantly, like, senses heightened. Don't know what's gonna happen to the beloved Duttons. I don't know what it is about this show either, because like, so I binge watched the first couple seasons at someone's recommendation, and I wasn't like that into it, or at least I didn't think I was. But then like I would see things around, and it would like make me think of the show, and then I was like, that is a sign of a good show. Is it like I don't feel like I'm like I'm not gonna fight for it in the streets like a crazy person, But when I see things and it reminds me of a character or reminds me of like an event or something that happened in the show, like to me that is the sign of a good show, because that's like really infiltrated you like as a person, you know? You've created almost like inside jokes or memories with the show. You know, like I do that when I read books a lot. Like hard pivot here. I read Where the Crawdads Sing. It was a good book. I mean, I liked it, but I don't know that it was like it wasn't something that I felt like I was gonna like go tell a friend about necessarily. It was like a New York Times bestseller, and I feel like everybody was talking about it for like weeks on end, that it was the best book ever. And I was like, yeah, I liked it. It was a good book, but I don't know that, like, it's not something I'm going to read again. I don't read books again anyway, but except for Harry Potter, because duh. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to like write home about it. But what's crazy is that I don't know if this is just because I knew that it was like a worldwide phenomenon, or that everybody was freaking out about this book. I don't know if that's like subconsciously changed how I feel about it or what, but what I noticed is that like even now, years after reading it, I think about like things that happened in that book, or like I'll hear something and it'll make me think about like scenery from the book, or something that happened in the storyline, or something one of the characters did or said. And I was like, that is like the telltale sign of a really good book. Something that can like draw you in. You don't even like, you don't put it down and you're like, oh my God, I need to recover. But then you think about it randomly for years. And that's where I'm at now. It's not that I'm like every day thinking about Where the Crawdads Sing, but just for it to be like a casual thing that can happen on a Tuesday. And I'm like, oh, that reminded me of something from Where the Crawdads Sing. That to me, I feel like is the good telling of like a really good book, right? You know what I mean? Like that you can still think about it later. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other like iconic shows that I have that with, or other books or something. And like there really aren't many. Like I've definitely watched a lot of shows, like until you say their name or remind me of something that happened in the show, I would be like, I don't know if I've watched that. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I did watch that show or something. But then there are some that like I don't think about it, you know, I don't think about the show itself, but then I'm reminded of like something a character did or said just by something completely unrelated, you know, like somebody not calling out the show by name, but instead mentioning some like offhanded thing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that reminded me of this show I watched, or this whatever. Do y'all know what I'm saying? Isn't that the sign of a telltale, or isn't that the telltale sign of a good show, you know? Anybody? No? That is how I feel about Yellowstone. I mean, I ended last season on what the fuck happened mode because you know, what the fuck happened. But it's not like I was like finishing every episode like, oh my God, I have to watch Yellowstone. But, you know, over the summer while we're waiting on the episodes to come out, I'm like thinking, you know, something happens and I'm like, oh, that's such a Beth moment. She would have said that or something. Once again, I mean, that's the sign of a show that just like has really infiltrated the mind, or that you've developed some like deep connection with and you don't even realize it. It's so ingrained, the love. Anyway, that's how I feel about Yellowstone. And if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend. I am super pumped about Sunday's episode, where I will get an update on who these fuckers are that are coming after my friends, okay? And it kind of makes me want to learn to cowboy. I am like, I mean, look at me. I'm doing freaking makeup right now on the internet. Like, I am anything but a cowboy. Is that how you say it? I'm anything but a cowboy? Yeah, I'm anything but a cowboy. Like, clearly. I don't know that I've ever even ridden a horse. I don't know. Like, maybe I have when I was younger. I don't recall ever having ridden a horse, which I would like to. That sounds like a fun thing. One of my friends that lives here in Austin, she is a horse rider, or like does that for like fun. So maybe I'll go with her and I can like fulfill my Yellowstone dreams. Oh yeah, I'm anything but a cowboy. Like obviously that's not, maybe that's why you like it. I once heard somebody describe like shows like that, that it allows you to like completely escape from reality, and that's why you like it so much. Maybe that's why we like the Housewives and stuff, because we're never gonna act like crazy lunatics, or it's easier to judge other people that do, or because you get to like sort of live their lavish lifestyle that you wouldn't necessarily have on your own. But they described it basically like it's kind of like your outlet, you would never act like that in public or whatever, but you get to see other people do it and be a part of it in a way where you're not responsible for it. And that's just like such a nice way to, you know, be in the conversation without being in the conversation. It's very tell me I'm X without telling me I'm X situation on TikTok, you know? X is our variable there. That's where you get to input the thing, for those of you who aren't following along, okay?